May I request everyone to put off their video, please? Good morning, everyone, and once again, welcome back to one more Empower Hour of Association of Nurse Executives India. I am Tankam Gomez, President of Association of Nurse Executives India. We are very happy that we promised to run this series in the beginning of 2021, and we have already held one Empower Hour every month, and the attendance has been very encouraging. And this Empower Hour this month is very unique because one of the major lacunae, or what you call opportunity loss for most of us, is that we fail to learn from our mistakes. First is that we are very reluctant in admitting that we have made a mistake when it comes to patient safety. And I know that for sure that the errors that we actually hear are just the tip of the iceberg. There are far many more events that happen, especially near miss, that is not getting reported. And these are huge opportunities that we are losing because we don't talk about it, we don't discuss about it. So that way we are not able to learn how to fix that problem. Imagine that if the aviation industry had this kind of a behavior, do you think that we will feel safe to travel in planes? I'm very sure. If someone says that 1 in 250 flights are going to crash, I'm sure that everybody will say, better I walk. That's the opportunity of error in healthcare. In aviation industry, there are about 10 million flights that happen in the entire year, and there is hardly 10 crashes. So you can imagine the safety net of aviation industry, similar with other industries like the nuclear power, etc. And how do they make their safety better? It's because when something goes wrong, they start looking at the reasons and they do not look at the individual. That is another problem that we all face, is that we tend to focus on people. When something goes wrong, the first thing we ask is, who did it? We don't ask the question, why did this happen? How did this happen? And if I understand the research well, it talks about that almost all the problems are rooted in either the structure or the process. So it is to us, the nurse leaders, to educate our nurses and encourage them to report the near misses and the errors that happen so that we can learn from them. And the more we discuss about such events, many more can learn from it. It is actually foolish that something happened in the neighboring hospital or in the neighboring ward, and I am not able to learn from that and make my system safer. So this is one of my very interesting topic, is that learning from errors. And I am so happy that we have got two senior Annie leaders today discussing about how can we learn from errors. So it gives me immense pleasure to invite Dr. Jyoti Clara, Annie Vice President, and she is also the group head of IHH India. Welcome, Dr. Jyoti. Maybe you can come on the screen, please. May I request Dr. Jyoti to put on her video? Yeah, a very, very warm welcome, Dr. Jyoti, and a special warm welcome to Captain Sandhya Shankar, the group nursing head of Fortis and also the president of Annie Delhi chapter. Two very senior people who have seen a lot of things happening in the hospital. And they are going to take us through those case narratives. It's very important that we should now start discussing more of what is happening and then discuss about it. How can we prevent them in the future? I am so delighted that our patient safety series has got this one also, and we still have 3 more months to go in 2021. There'll be more topics coming up now without any delay. I'm going to hand the podium over to Dr. Jyoti and Captain Sandhya to discuss reporting and learning from errors. And I really hope the audience today will start putting some questions up. It's very important to ask questions. To say, even if you want to say that I'm afraid to report, that's fine. We want to talk about these things so that we can make healthcare safer, and nurses play a very huge role in that safety net. So over to Dr. Jyoti and Captain Sandhya. So the time now is, I'm just going to set the time. The time now is 12:10. So maximum by 1:15, we should be wrapping it up. With that, I'll stop sharing the screen and hand over to both of you. And thank you very much for taking the time out to be here. And Association of Nurse Executives India stands for nurses and nursing in India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Tankam. That is an exciting day for us. Close to heart topic, and I'm sure all the participants are awaiting to help us learn more than what we know as of now. So I am Dr. Jyoti Clara Michael, signing in from Chennai.
And I'm Captain Sandhya Shankar, logging in from New Delhi. A very warm welcome to each one of you.
So we are very glad, and we don't want to make it a very formal presentation, and we don't want to make it as a knowledge sharing, but we wanted to have it as a practical dialogue and discussion. And we would like to take this screen between all of us. There is no seniority, juniority here. There is no person who knows more than another person, or there is no hierarchy. We are just going to break everything, and we are going to discuss. And I'm sure you participants will be getting engaged with us, and we will be able to take you through certain thought process, because every learning is very important if it has to result in some outcome, and that is what we both are aiming at. Sandhya, I'm very happy that you have joined hands with me to unfold this theme and also to take some of the examples and scenarios and some hot discussion all through. So we'll start off. So what we will have the sequences, like I'll be giving a short unfolding of what it is all about, the theme. And then we will have Ms. Sandhya presenting two of a very important scenario. And then we'll go for a hot discussion as to how we have to understand every single aspect of error and error learning. And unless error is reported, we cannot learn. So the entire topic is revolving around the nurses, the attitude of the nurses, the empowerment of the nurses, and the courage of nurses. Now I'm putting a question in the chat box. Now we will now want some answers. Sandhya will follow them as well. Do we need courage to accept mistakes or hide mistakes? If you say yes, accepting mistakes, then we are all courageous when we accept.
How many of you agree to this?
Yeah. Can we see some answers?
Correct. I see Pooja, Vinod raising their hands. We'll request you to type your answers in the chat box. That will be easy for us to connect with each one of you.
So you need courage to accept
we
mistakes.
We need courage.
Right?
Yes.
Courage to accept mistakes. How will this courage come?
Yes.
This will come with our knowledge, with our competency, and being very bold to communicate. These are the three integral parts. And if it is not facilitated, this courage will die. The young nurse who enters into hospital, the first day, she finds something not right that is happening as she has studied in her books, in her practicum. She will tell it out slowly, whisper. Somebody stops her. There ends the story. She will never come forward to tell. So So to unfold the theme, I brought in 3 apples for all of you virtually. Apple number 1, Adam's and Eve's forbidden apple. That is the apple that we are going to take it as a point of learning today. The second apple is the Newton's apple. In 17th century, her experience and a moment happened for the young Isaac Newton. When he saw the apple fell down, and then he realized, and he is the person who's key to unfold the understanding of gravity. The third apple is Steve Jobs. At his age of 21, with his friend, started the company of Apple. No revolution happened. A lot of revolutions happened around it. Now we will focus on the first apple. Next slide, please. The first apple, error, is a term that calls the attention to creation and quality. Something happened wrong. SOP of the Garden of Eden was not followed. When there was a deviation in the SOP, mistakes happened. But mistake resulted in creation and quality. This is what is a learning that we should take and understand. Always errors will happen. And if we accept that we will make errors, then we will be going forward to accept errors and there will be a change. Ms. Thankam, thank you very much for introducing both of us. Thankam, the president, Ms. Shubhada, the secretary, and Ajita, the treasurer of Association of Nurse Executive India, and all the executive members, wonderful leaders across India. Every one of us, put our hand and heart and soul, along with the young mid-level leaders and the growing leaders and the nurses. We all focus every day in patient safety. None of us get up in the morning and think that today I would like to do something not right, or I want to see that one of my nurse is deviating from SOP. The intention is very clear, but errors happen because error is human and it is inevitable. Avoid, nothing is intentional. We all do error and we shortfall of reality. The second aspect that we have to understand is organization thrives to achieve zero error. Zero error contributes to growth of the organization. Now you see how big nursing is. The largest workforce is the nurses. Largest workforce is the nurses.
Just may I request everyone to mute their audio, please?
Hannah is helping me from behind. Thank you. So when we say the organization thrives to achieve zero error, we must understand who contributes to it. In any organization, the largest workforce is the nurses. In any country, the largest manpower, the resource are the nurses. Such nurses come forward to contribute to minimize error. All excellent surgeries, complex surgeries, all procedures that are done with care for complex patients, high-end technologies, all these results in better outcome, good outcome. It's just because there are few nurses around the patient there who are cautious, who are managing the care day in and day out, and they are able to also express error and bring out changes, and we are seeing the outcome. If not, country like India would not compete internationally for their clinical outcome. So hats off to nurses. We are there. But I think we need to claim that nurses are contributing to zero error in the organization. They are the people 24 hours around the patient in the hospital and taking accountability. If you take scan down across India, between 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning, if you want to see how many of them are at the bedside, which of the professionals are closely with patients, watching patients, I would say nursing would rank the first. They are at the bedside. So we contribute to zero error. We try. We aim to achieve zero error. The third component that we will be unfolding today will be on error prevention is possible through multimodality approach. Sandhya has got fantastic points to share with you on this. And so we will be sharing few modalities which will help you practically. And if you have some, please share it. It will be good for others to learn from us. Eclectic, egalitarian concepts with situational analysis is the best approach for building error prevention, error reporting culture. No two errors can be handled in the same way. Leaders cannot apply same methodology to handle situations when errors happen in the same way. So learning occurs through recognition of error. So how do we recognize error in our day-to-day practice? So we need to have a certain factual basis before we could go into that. Trivial errors and near misses has the potential to strengthen process of care and improvement of quality. This is a very strong point. So every hospital, you have QIPs, quality improvement projects, and we also have some of the small audit-based researchers done. Why are we doing all that? I see many institutions coming forward for competitions. They present their performances in the ward, in the ICU, in the operation theater. It's all because you have found there is a possibility of error happening there, and we try measures to overcome, and then we showcase it. Effectively avoid future error that can cause patient harm, improvements must be made on the underlying system problem. Most often associated with the near misses. There comes our intelligence. Always, what do we do when an error happens? We jump in and we try to do something. But our intelligence should be shifted to near misses. Possibility. That's why the definition of nursing very clearly says diagnosis and treatment of not the potential problem, not the actual problem. It is a potential problem. So near misses are potential. So nurses are proactive, predictive, and they are able to actually internalize and see that, okay, this can happen to my patient and I had to step in. So that is what is the near misses that we have to focus. System problems can be detected through reports of errors that harm patients, and analysis of reported errors have revealed many hidden dangers. It's very surprising. As a nursing directors, all of you joined here, you will agree with me. When any problem happens in the hospital, an error happens, you try to further understand what exactly happened. You will come up with new reasons, new solutions. You come up with so many other new aspects which will widen your knowledge. That's why we say the practical knowledge that the leaders have when they get involved in doing a root cause analysis, identifying exactly where is the error and ensuring that it doesn't repeat. So when we engage practically hands-on at the bedside with the team of people, involving multidisciplinary team, that is a beautiful learning that we have for our personal experience as professionals at the bedside, and leaders also going to sit in the boardroom. Organizations have implemented strategies such as staff education, eliciting of staff advice, and then we also have budget promotion, and so many other aspects we focus towards implementing patient safety system. But how many times we are able to translate them in reality? When the patient safety week comes, we could see everybody getting up, and then we really have wonderful programs, we publicize, it is all important. Should we not consider every day is a patient safety day? We have to keep celebrating every shift as a patient safety shift. So then the patient safety system will evolve and be a very strong. Next slide. So the entire gist comes here for each of us. This is a slogan that we have to wear it in our mind, heart, and our hand should be towards this. Think twice and save a life. Nurse cannot think once and perform anything. She have to think twice. She has to think for herself. She has to think for a doctor. She has to think for her colleagues, the team members. If she doesn't think for them, if she doesn't think for herself, mistakes will occur. That is why I say in hospital industry, in healthcare, nurses are the first and the last line of defense. First line of defense, where she is protecting the patient right from the beginning. Last line of defense, there has been an initiation of harm potential for patient and she has stopped it at the end before it reaches the patient. Example, medication error, wrong prescription, wrong indenting, wrong delivery. And finally, what happens? The nurse stops there and administration is very, very prompt so that the nurse is able to prevent an administration error in a patient. Although, so that is why all of us should understand that error reporting, we have to motivate the nurses because when they report error, they also be happy that they are able to identify error. So best catches are one good example for nurses to become more active and energetic and catch more errors so that they are bringing out errors and they are able to stop error happening to the patient. So may I stop here? Next slide. May I stop here? And my colleague Sandhya is coming out with very exciting stories for us. And may I hand over the stage to Ms. Sandhya. Over to Ms. Sandhya. Sandhya, please unmute.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Jyoti. Thank you very much. And my friends, yes, it's as it's already told to you, it's not the Gyan session. Let me just begin with a nice story. And probably every nurse who's logged in here will relate to it. A patient by the name Sachin Shankar Pandian, senior citizen, 66-year-old male, admitted in a ward for in the hospital for hernia repair, herniorrhaphy scheduled for the next day morning. He's actually an old cardiac case, so as you know, every nurse would relate that before the surgery, a cardiac clearance is required, and maybe the assigned nurse or the the team leader pulls out the reports, puts on the table. The ward is busy because there are numerous discharges and admissions, 6 discharges that time with 6 discharges, 2 admissions within a span of 2 hours. It's a real chaos. I've just used this abbreviation for Mr. Sachin Shankar Pandian, SSP, where the cardiologist visits him at 19:30. At 7:30 in the evening, patient was admitted in the evening. 7:30 in the evening, he saw the reports being printed, kept on the table. He goes through the reports and gets an alert, gets a caution, dials his HOD immediately because he noticed increased and highly deranged cardiac enzymes. There is an urgent need of the procedure. The cardiac team, the cath lab is to be lined. There is a sign of patient having an MI. Although the patient said, I'm feeling comfortable, maybe the pain was there. Patient did say that he was feeling comfortable, but the cardiologist insisted, and the senior consultant and probably the HOD was called in to counsel him. And subsequently, when the patient understood that the procedure is inevitable for me, he insisted that his daughter be called, and who herself was a practicing clinician overseas, was visiting father at that moment. Daughter visits all the Delhi and metros as the cities are. Mumbai, Bangalore, where the heavy traffics, everywhere. It's being a metro when it takes time. The daughter took time to reach um, the hospital, and she notices the procedure, the plan for the procedure, talks to the doctors, understands the situation, and agrees that yes, the doctor is right, and convinces her father to undergo the procedure. And as a part of procedure, there is a small activity which the nurses have to perform. And this time it was the staff nurse who tried transferring the patient in the HIS and hospital information system. Every nurse relates to this terminology, where the ward nurses do have limited access only specific to their ward. And that was a time when she was unable to transfer the patient to a cath lab, and that disabled and with a pop-up, and the pop-up talking of the patient is not found, raise the alert at why is it happening. Is this a technical error where the IT is doing playing funny, or without the system transfer, the other processes would come to a standstill. So system transfer was mandatory, and there was a pop-up, the patient is not found. And of course, while this led to the frustration, it was a senior nurse or a mid-level nurse who, to whom it stuck. Let me just check, it's if it's not the patient, let me just check through the other IDs. And when, with the report, when the team leader checked, feeding in the UHID of the patient, to the horror of everybody, it was Mr. Sachin Shankar, not Mr. Sachin Shankar Pandian, but it was Mr. Sachin Shankar of another ward, who was a cardiac patient, who had undergone angioplasty in the morning, and his pre-procedure reports were pulled out by the nurse, and by mistake it was only the name which was read by the nurse, Sachin Shankar. And that's how the report of that in that multi-speciality ward, reports of one patient reached to the other patient's table. Friends, rest is history. I won't waste minutes, it's precious this moment, but rest is history. The daughter, a practicing clinician, Hannah will go, will still remain at the previous slide. uh, you know um, the embarrassment caused to the hospital, the apologies would not work, it would fail immensely. Hospital management extending gestures of sorry, and so on and so forth. There was a threat, there was an agony, there was an aggression, there was an agitation, and of course patient deciding never to come back to the facility. But yes, there was lot of negative emotion which was just floating in. And imagine what had been with the story or with the condition of the patient. But yes, a stitch in time saved everything. uh, can we have the second slide, please? And yes, and another thing, a senior citizen, a very old lady, undergone total knee replacement, and waiting in a multi-speciality ward. Of course, COVID times, limited visitors, although it's fading, but still limited visitors in the hospital, feeling lonely, eager to go home, and was waiting in the ward. And it was a busy ward with almost 190 to 100% occupancy, when Miss Kalsi Devi was reviewed by her doctor, and she was very happy to learn in the evening rounds that she's fit for discharge. And but yes, being an insurance case, that would take too long. And but the nurse did initiate, inform the doctor. The junior doctor worked upon the necessary documentation, the discharge draft was ready. And as everybody knows, the insurance patients, and the majority of the patients are dependent on the I'll request friends to keep yourself on mute. Ishu Sharma, can you please keep yourself on mute? um, so the nurses, being the TPA, and it started, and everybody can relate to this situation where it takes long hours. And the lady eagerly waited for her family, for somebody from the family to come and take her home. Evening, after the office hours, the exhausted son enters the hospital. He too was relieved to learn from his mother that yes, she's free to go home. And In between, the doctor did review and just came to check on the dressings or on the pain status, the incision site, everything appeared to be fine. And there was a call, and while attending the call, he just walked away. Meanwhile, he just forgot a draft document, 2 papers, which were lying on the bedside locker. And just he thought that he would collect it later, and he went out to the attend the calls. Meanwhile, when the son comes in and the mother informs that it's time for us to go home, you can take me home. I'm eager and I want to have dinner at home today, not at the hospital. And the son was too was relieved and said, we'll wait for the necessary documentation and other thing. Probably he was aware that yes, the insurance would take time. He can come back and make the payments and other things. He looked at the papers at the bedside locker. It read Mrs. Kalsi Devi, 76-year-old. So assuming that, and it was the heading did write discharge summary. So assuming that this is the discharge document, he just took the papers, took the mother, because mother has already changed. And then he took her and she walks out of the hospital, goes home. And while they reached home, and she was sitting at the dinner table, her grandson asked, Dadi, what's this? Because there was a big cannula with dressing and the bandage tied on her upper arm. And the grandmother when saw to only to realize that yes, oh, she forgot about it. And the son, agitated that why the hospital has not taken care of my mother, calls up the hospital. In the right, the ambulance goes to remove the cannula, to remove the patient ID band and come back to the hospital. And of course, the correct discharge summary was handed over. But what happened? How was the experience where the patient's son, an educated person paying for mother's treatment, had an impression that yes, this is an utter failure when my mother was just sent off like any other substance carelessly, where nobody was bothered that the patient was getting discharged. So the entire work, a complicated case, successful surgery, nurses taking care day in and day out, ensuring that the old lady, the complex case, comes out free from infection, smiling, should be fit to go home. But look at it, how it ended. Does it really require to end like this? I strongly feel no. And Ms. Jyoti, I really want to ask you, these 2 stories, do we learn anything from them? These happens everywhere, every now and then. Every nurse logged in here will relate to similar situations happening day in and day out. We had long list of nurses accepting that yes, we need courage. But before the courage, I said stepping back, before the courage, is there anything else which is required to ensure and acknowledge that yes, this is an error or there is a potential error which can happen? So do we learn something from them? Ms. Jyoti, over to you.
Thank you, Sandhya. That was a very interesting. And I'm sure you have mocked the entire patient's name and details. It's all the scenario that she has brought in to make us understand 2 patients with same name, there is always possibility of error. Sex can be a possibility of error. Also, like you can have errors in when you call the patient by bed number and not by patient name. So these are some of the things that could lead for error. But these are all system correction that is to be done so that nurses are having a free mind to do clinical decision, clinical judgment, and provide care for the patients. So we have few objectives here. The next 20 minutes for all of us to understand 5 important aspects around this particular question and how empowered nurses deal with all these areas, and how a leader in healthcare, whether you're a mid-level leader or whether you're a leader of nursing in the unit, you're able to handhold nurses, role model them, walk the way so that the nurses also see us very strong and powerful, where we are bold enough to say, I have committed a mistake. I do not know. I have to learn on this and come back to you. So these are some of the examples we want to share with you. And the first question goes to me, actually, Sandhya is asking me, can errors facilitate learning?
Yeah.
And what would be my answer? You all will know. I would say only yes, right? We can only say yes because error is essential to creation. All our innovations, all the tools that we use, okay, Humpty Dumpty tool for fall assessment, okay, and new score for early warning scores. Everything is a creation, right? How do you think the creations have happened? ISBAR is a creation. Three things that we have to understand here in the model. This is a very important model that I always imbibe within myself. As an individual, as an institution, and as an entire universe, this is what we have to do. We have to be sensitive and we have to understand the human resources are the important resources in the organization. We don't invest on nurses. Investing on nurses is very important. And every individual human resource takes responsibility of identifying error, reporting error. Error self-reporting is the most courageous. If you want to say an institution is a reliable institution, we have to say every member in that institution comes forward to report and self-report their errors. Education and attitude building is very important because knowledge is power. Attitude reflects our knowledge. Attitude reflects the ability for us to translate the knowledge at the bedside. So let us focus on this. The second layer that we have to focus is supervision and support, planned care provision, interpersonal relationship, and effective delegation of nurses, prescription, and teamwork. Do nurses prescribe? In the morning, nursing supervisors, when you take over the in charge and the managers, probably you will have 10 beds and probably you will have 3 nurses or maybe 5 nurses with you, or maybe the number equally be different. Like you have a very larger number of bed, like 50 beds, and then you have larger number of nurses in the unit which are those who are coming under you. What do you do when you sign in for work? Do you prescribe for your team? It's a very interesting thing. Please go back and try. This will prevent error. After the nurses signed in for their job, you have to see that the number of patients that you have, categorize them into triage the patients. Which are the patients as an in charge I should meet first? Which are the patients I should meet next and next? So then what do? You go there, see the chart, prescribe. Nurses follow doctor's prescription, but I feel nurses should follow the in charges and the manager's prescription. I think this is the best method to be seeing that the mid-level leaders are empowered and mid-level leaders are strong enough to remove the errors. The last part is building ethical culture, research-driven audits, provision of good leadership, policy, protocol, and system establishment. Here comes the connection between the bedside and the board. Every single policy in the hospital that is concerning patient safety, the nurse should be in the middle to design the policy. Then that will be a realistic evidence-based policy where she's able to translate it, understand, and bring it to the bedside. So next part is error prevention by strengthening quality task force. Task force is very important. It's multitasking. One patient is under one consultant, but one patient is under 50 different nurses. If a patient has to stay for probably 13 days or 15 days in the hospital. Imagine the pressure that the nursing leaders have, we all have. So here, quality task force is very important. We have to focus on that. And how do we build quality task forces? We have to have a strategic approach towards that. Remove the fear. Do not have a punitive approach. When they do error, come and tell us that they have done error, publish it. Give a kudos to them, bravo to them. Publish it. She is very strong enough to come and give. So that will actually energize and nourish people. Next slide, please. And you all know this. When error happens, different layers it happens. So try to see you be either in the first or the second or the third or the fourth layer. So with this, I would like to go to ask a question to Ms. Sandhya. What are the attitudes or parameters to be considered from individual, nursing department, and hospital perspective.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Jyoti. But before talking about the hospital and the nursing department, let's see how a nurse is being perceived as a caregiver. Right? There are certain attributes to a caring nurse. Hannah, can we go on with the slide? Because this is equally important while while a medical error or a, error during the practice takes place in the hospital, and it has its impact on the patient. It has all the more a double or a, I would say, a multifold impact on the nurse who lives with that experience for a long, long time. Caring attributes, of course, to the nurse or to the caregiving nurse include are about her honesty, her connect with the patient, her rapport with the patient's families and their relatives or the attendants, entering, knowing about their routine, their lives, their position in the society, in the community, and of course, at the same time, being resilient to all the uncertainties means being there but still being unaffected. And now, when I say attributes to the nurse and individual, this actually includes, the burnout of the cases of the nurses while they are working in the journey of irrespective of patient ratios, irrespective of the manpower or the other challenges. It's an individual nurse's burnout, the physical state. All right. No, please go to the previous slide, Hannah. Yeah, sorry. Lack of concentration, poor work performance, and of course, and this is not a nurses are intended to be doing. It is actually, the parameters, the points, the behaviors, the condition, the situation of the nurse, which attributes to the occurrence of errors in the journey of their caregiving practices in the hospital. Next slide, please. Now let's have a quick look on the hospitals and the nursing department on what are the common causes. Because next, please click, Hannah. Because as they say, a recent study in June 2020 published by the Healthcare Research and Quality Center of Healthcare Research and Quality, it suggested that medical errors are the third leading cause of death in the US, and 10% of all the US deaths are now due to the medical error. But more importantly, we need to know what are the common root causes which occur in the hospitals across, not only in Delhi, Chennai, or states, not in the country, but across the globe. Commonly, the first and foremost includes communication gaps. And these could be it the handovers, be it the patient transfers, be it the patient documentation, anything. It could be anything where there is which involves the interface of two people, two department, two policies, two processes or more, right? And while we say there is a gap in the communication in written, verbal, written, direct, indirect, verbal, non-verbal, the adequacy of flow of information is actually found to be missing. And this primarily are the critical and the crucial information which goes missing, the lack of appropriate communication on the test results, the critical test results, and more importantly, it's the missing coordination or inadequate coordination of various medical instructions in the journey of for the prescribed for the patient care or in the journey of patient treatment. The other problems like standardized or non-standardized care or the standard of care being delivered, being designed by the nursing heads or the seniors or the hospital management, the policies, processes, and the procedures which are not followed appropriately. It's not that they are not followed appropriately. It's either the lack of awareness. When we just listen to somebody talking, but they miss out on opening and learning about the hospital policies. How many of us open the actual policy and read through, while we depend on the prevailing practice which we grab from the pre-existing lot of nurses? The workflows, the staffing patterns is actually one thing which is, when inadequate, makes the nurses more vulnerable to mishaps and the gaps in the care. Patient-related issues actually include maybe inappropriate patient identification, inadequate assessments from the admission and the subsequent shifts uh, when the nurse does not actually follow her own knowledge and own awareness in making assessments, preempting the risks and doing the needful, or maybe the inadequate, or I would say insufficient patient education or lack of awareness with the patient, their families, where we need their consent and their alignment for particular procedures. This is something probably every nurse leader, the supervisor or the manager will relate to. Insufficiencies in the training, where inadequate training or inadequate awareness becomes the prime cause in compliance to the standards of care. My friends, it is something very important to know that eyes will see what brain knows. And when I say eyes will see what brain knows, it's important for us to feed the right information to the head where it gets stored to be utilized at the right time. And the policies, the procedures, and the SOPs designed in the hospital need to be updated. And of course, the technical failures, which commonly include the failure of the medical devices, power, implants, stents, grafts, or any piece of important equipments. While I shared my points on, what attributes to errors in the hospital, be it the nurse, nursing department, or the hospital management as a whole, Ms. Jyoti, tell me one thing. Do the nurse leaders have a role to play in learning from these mistakes, picking up the clues from these gaps, and imbibing it in sustaining the quality of their nursing teams? What
Thanks, Sandhya. Thanks, Sandhya. It's a very important question that you have given here. I just wanted to explain in a way that we can understand, because nowadays we see like a lot of rains and it is a rainy season.
Excuse me, Dr. Jyoti. Excuse me, please stay close to the mic. We are losing your voice very often.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, now it's clear. Just stay like this. Just stay.
So I would like to bring a toxic cascade for us to understand. Now it's a rainy season and we see floods all over. Yesterday we had information that in Hyderabad, one of our hospitals, there was flood into the hospital. So here, the understanding here is like any error that happens, it doesn't happen just like that within a moment. Trickles, creeks, rivers, and torrents. We have to relate it to this. Always when there is a start, it just trickles. So if we are not able to identify at the time of trickling, we will lose it. When it comes to a creek, it will show off even more. Like you will see that there is a big gap and there will be like near misses. Okay, there will be some signals, maybe one odd incidents happening in one corner of the hospital. So we have to do a cross-sectional audit. When we do a cross-sectional audit, what will happen is we'll know the magnitude of the problem. Is this problem happening only in one ward, or it is also happening in all other wards? So the creeks will help us to identify the extent and the magnitude of the problem. Next comes the rivers. Rivers are mistakes that are too large to be ignored. Sometimes we do ignore even that because we are in dynamism. There will be multiple errors coming in. So we'll import one important error we will miss to connect, do a root cause, and then identify. Or when we do a root cause, we don't go to the root properly. So it is misled that proper why is not done. So then what happens? It becomes a river. Then comes your flood, the entire thing where you cannot stop. It has been known. That is why you see so many information that come in the media. We see so many happenings happen and patients dying and patients losing organs. So all these can happen. But all these did not happen on that day. It had a trickle, it had a creek, it had a river. So nursing leaders, you have to take this model forward. I have used this model because we are able to be the eyeballing of any errors that are potential to happen in the institution. So please apply this model. It will help you actually to further enhance. So be the line of defense before an error is happening, for which we have to admit yes, I don't know. If suppose a medicine newly introduced, if I don't know, I don't know. Even if I'm a nursing director, go back, refer and learn. So this attitude should be there right from the leader to the nurse at the bedside. So it's a culture. So we have to build in a culture. Now over to Sandhya. I have a question to Sandhya. The fourth question, how one can promote error reporting open culture? Your favorite reaction and response. Sandhya.
Thank you. Hannah, just stay at the previous slide. Just stay at the previous slide. Thank you, Ms. Jyoti. Thank you very much. If I could actually, before, I don't know, I don't intend to retire, but the day I leave this earth, I really wish that every nurse leader, every supervisor, every nurse manager in the profession learns this. And with the benefit of the younger generation and in the benefit of the patient safety, this is I would say, bold and capital, the behavioral change which is required. We all need to know, we all need to train ourselves, and this is within ourselves. How do we respond and handle ourselves in the situation of an event, in the situation of an occurrence of an adverse event? Because although it is good to preach, it's good to preach, but next time when an event happens, please test yourself. Was my behavior appropriate? Just ask yourself next time in the situation of an event in the hospital. Next, yes, Hannah, please. And so all adult professionals here, practicing nurses, logged in. I can't give gyan. Am I on a rocket? My temperament, my emotion, and my impulses shooting skies? Or what am I supposed to do? While I say that the reaction, and this is the commonest exhibited behavior, 99% situation, it's the commonest behavior which is seen as, which is more driven by emotion. Oh my God, this has happened. The doctor will shout at me. The patient will shout at me. You don't know. What have you done? Please don't tell anybody. Wait, let me just put it right. Or there's another thing to it is, why did it happen? Do you think this could have happened somewhere, or could we have prevented it or not? You know, while a response is well thought, calm, and which helps to resolve a situation, reactions are always emotion driven, aggressive, and it actually disengages the younger ones or our colleagues, subordinates, or team members, anybody and everybody. I can actually only give tips to all my partners and friends, nurses who are logged in here, is aggressive. Do not try to be reactive. And how to identify? Let's not be aggressive. Let's not talk without thinking about the other person. Doesn't matter, she's a younger nurse. We think that the instructions do well, or only the instructions work well. No, it doesn't. When it doesn't happen with our own children, let's take it for granted, and it's an unsaid rule. It will not work for our younger nurses as well. They are our colleagues. They are professionals. Let's treat them like professionals. So the change starts from me, us. And let's not talk without thinking about the other person. Let's not talk without being aware. So it's better to ask questions to have the right information first. And yes, let's keep quiet when we are angry. That's more important. And this is something, an important slide, which actually tells us that and this could be useful for everybody, that while we are driven by an impulse in the moment which is triggered, and as I said, it's fight or flight, it can make person feel uncomfortable. It can make feel uncomfortable us as well. And yes, it's often regretted. It's often regretted. And it's more importantly, unproductive. Please remember, attrition, absenteeism, misbehaviors, and repeat errors, unsustained attempts are a result. Are the situations, are the examples where the major cause, underlying cause, which is not noticed and it remains unacknowledged, is our reaction as a manager. If we react, it remains it remains unchanged, and the situation continues. So let's train ourselves to be more responding in a particular situation. Just stop, count 5, or just ask question to myself, kya ye sahi hai, is this right, or something else could have been there. Or spend 1 second of just few seconds, what do I ask her? Just question ourselves, what do I ask her, rather than exploding. So reflection certainly helps. And yes, with this, and when we start mentoring ourselves on being responding in a situation, in the journey of an event, it's very important for us, because there lies important points, the gaps, the wisdoms, I would say the pearls of wisdoms, whom we can translate into our sustained initiatives. Yes, Ms. Jyoti, are they, you are one of the champions to be converting this. You'd already used this term, the best catches, isn't it? So what would you like to say when we convert these learning opportunities into sustained culture? You're muted, Ms. Jyoti.
It's true that you have said we have to react. We should not react. We have to respond. By responding, we are elevating our personality. We are role modeling to our younger nurses. And nurses are very comfortable. It's just like a family. When a child does a mistake, who does the child come and tell first? The parents. Then that's a beautiful family. It's just the same. We are building generation. So our nurses should feel free to come and tell us. And when we say here, next slide, please. We have to integrate between individual, the mid-level leaders, and the top leaders, those who are there in the organization. So all of us focus together and build in a culture of response, not react. And error facilitating learning environment is a beautiful journey. Now we have to take individual feedback. We have to monitor all the feedback, reporting, and all the occurrences we have to stick, because those are the leading points for us. Audit results are very important, and we have to be genuine, analyzing each of the deviations that happens. Patients and relatives feedback. Forget patient feedback that is taken in the hospital and that is being put on a chart. Every single leader can go at the bedside, just ask, how do you feel? Do you have anything for us to improve? That is the best way of getting feedback from patients, and we can early identify where are the touch points for prevention of error. Doctors, pharmacists, guest relation, everybody, all members those are working with us can help us understand how serious we have to take and what is that we have to deal with. And when we do this, what will happen is we'll be able to take it forward. Now, I've just brought in a model here for us to understand. We all do this. In our ICUs, every single person watching the slides will say, exactly, I do this. Prediction, escalation, prevention, nursing care model. When you say nurses predict, if nurses are not predicting hypovolemia in the ICU, you will see CPRs very often happening in ICUs. In ICUs, nothing comes as a surprise because we keep watching. So escalation happens at the right time and there are prevention happening. Now, when this model is seen in every ICU, how do you think it is seen? It's because the nurses are able to identify the errors and escalate. Sometimes this is not happening, but when we put it as a model, when we teach the nurses, they themselves know, oh, escalation is a way of reporting error. So when they say escalation is a way of reporting deviations, or escalation is a way of reporting deterioration that happens in patients, so nurses feel it is their right. So when they feel it is their right, what will happen is they'll come forward, whether it is a deviation, whether it is a deterioration, whether it is an error, they see everything same. There is no difference. So no reason for fear coming in for them. So they just escalate and then they see what best can be done for the patient will be done. Later on, we'll attend to whether we have to train that nurse, whether we have to prepare that nurse, all that will happen later. Now, another example I want to give here to close, which is a 52-year-old female who was admitted in COVID ward. You will find that a nurse who was taking care of this patient identified the patient was not maintaining saturation. You know, her base knowledge about the pulmonary edema in the CNEs have helped her to diagnose actually. And this was escalated to the doctor. You will not believe the doctor put in the doctor's consultant group that this particular nurse had done a wonderful job of mine where she helped me to diagnose and we were able to survive the patient. So a nurse can step up to become a consultant. The nurse can step up to become a doctor. The nurse can step up to a next level of a senior competent nurse. That is all we want. When you report errors, when you come out with errors, you can learn. I have learned it. So this is what this particular scenario gives us as a learning and take home message. Okay. This is another scenario, like 81 years old male, known case of a heart failure, was admitted for medical management. Here what happened? The patient had GTCS and after voiding, he went into VT. So here the nurse was able to monitor. So when a patient is having the nature, whether the patient goes to the toilet or whether the patient's daily activity is happening, whether the patient is bathing or whether the patient is, anytime you keep observing signs, that's what we say. The nursing diagnosis and treatment of human responses is the definition of nursing. So here the nurse translated the definition of nursing at the bedside. The nurse was able to diagnose the potential problem of the patient and she was able to escalate to the intensivist. Before the doctor arrived, the RN took prompt decision. That is where is important. How can an RN take a prompt decision if she's not empowered? If she is not given, there is no ego with the doctor, there is no ego around her and she can take the bold decision. She is a clinician part working with the doctor. The RN followed ACLS protocol and she started doing and the patient was survived. So here, what I would like to tell is empowered R is all about how empowered are we. So each of you attending this program, please reflect back and say, if anything happens in the hospital, will you be able to rise up and tell that this is wrong? Or you will know that it is wrong, but you will not be able to tell because I have to consider other factors. Maybe I have to massage ego of somebody, or maybe if I tell somebody will get hurt, or I am very close with this team, then I cannot express, or probably there are various other reasons that are existing. So let us understand where is our learning going to be. What is the transformation that we are going to give in after this session? See, I have not given a great session here, but I would like to give you one point. Think back and say, what is the one thing that you will go back and do to say from one level of empowerment, you will go to the next level of empowerment to save a patient's life, mainly while accepting mistake. In the boardroom, around the SLT members, if one nurse has committed mistake, I would always say, yes, she has committed mistake. I cannot go back and correct it, but I can go forward to correct so that another patient is not affected. I can prevent another nurse doing the same mistake, but I cannot go back. Errors happen in medical profession. Errors happen in all other professions. But in nursing, the errors are considered to be very punitive and we take it very serious. So don't react, my dear friends and colleagues. Just stay calm. We can solve the problem when we are calm and we can give a long-term solution if we are calm. So we have to respond. Now I call upon Sandhya to close with quality improvement tool that she has brought in for you. Sandhya, unmute please.
Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Jyoti. Thank you very much. This is, now I would say this is just a jargon and rather one small tip. While you know, these there are multiple tools you will get in the internet, in our textbooks, quality literature, to do a quality improvement project, because errors and important ones and the big gaps who repeat and reoccur actually are very easy topics to have those quality improvement projects and sustain, and which are critical in changing the cultural and having the cultural shift, the transformation in our practices in the environment. But I will actually close with one small tip to all the seniors, or be it the mid-level managers. When a nurse of mine, say for example, forgets or does not record a patient, say a fall risk assessment properly or appropriately to the patients, just instead of doing a counseling or writing an imposition, the easiest and one of the corrective behaviors would be for 20 days or 22 days, if the nurse can actually empower that nurse to audit every case sheet in her own ward, to assess whether other nurses have actually done the correct assessment or not, fall risk assessment or not, prepare the report and give. This is a quality improvement project that nurse individually will be doing, which she will never realize, right? And you would translate a behavior into a habit, right? And with this, remember, individually we all are strong.
Sandhya. That was
Together
really
we are
good.
powerful. Yes.
An error does not become a mistake until you refuse to correct it.
Yes.
So, as nurses, we are very altruistic in nature, but let us become more courageous. Courage to accept mistakes and move on. So the message that we want to give, myself and Sandhya, to all of you audiences, we all do mistakes, we all do errors, but we should not repeat the error. We cannot do the second mistake. What is the second mistake is hiding it. Let us be transparently expressing what we have done so that we will be able to allow others to help us. Allowing others to help us will minimize error, we will grow and we will mature. So with this, we want to thank you. It was a wonderful session for us and I hope you all enjoyed. So message has to be taken home for all of us. And Ms. Thankam is waiting eagerly to close the session. Thank you, Ms. Thankam. Annie for Annie, nurses for Annie. Okay. And Annie is for nurses. Thank you so much for all the wonderful every month program empowering nurses. One day I'm sure we are going to become very strong as Indian nurses, to be bold in clinical front. And I'm sure the whole world is going to see us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti and Captain Sandhya. It was a very insightful discussion in that short 60 minutes time. We have few minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes for us to take a couple of quick questions. One here I got from this, which I'm going to summarize this. Looks like a mid-level manager or leader. How can we rightly raise voice on solutions without getting judgmental from our leadership? Because that's a common problem that people, they hesitate in reporting because they feel that they will be judged. The response would be, you don't know what you are saying, look at me, I'm going to tell you. So the mid-level, then they stop discussing and they don't become creative. So what is the response to that statement? What will be your advice to mid-level managers? How can they become empowered? How can they feel empowered? Any one of you can take the question and answer.
Ms. Jyoti, would you like to take, or shall I take it?
Go ahead, Sandhya.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very good question and very relevant. Probably majority of the mid-level managers would relate to this situation. And when you encounter such a situation, and I can only give my example, one has to be tactful and smart. And in the sense, have a complete knowledge of the background, why the error has happened, at least motivate self and have a self do a good quality or the correct RCA and identify the gap. Sometimes it is not right to go and talk about the situation, about the error, which is very negative and which has caused harm. Rather than that, to the superior, talk, yes, sir or ma'am, these are the gaps in our process which is actually leading to such errors. You know, this type of error which happened in this area or that area. So talking about a gap in the process which is common among the people in my ward or in my hospital with the superior always help, because the superior or the leader is always worried about the errors happening in the hospital, because they are answerable. They're not only answerable, they are accountable. So when they are given solution of a potential gap which is there existing in a process, for example, I say that I am saying that compliance to fall risk assessment is not happening in my hospital, not effective. So what do I do? If I say that nurses are not doing fall risk assessment, maybe the biases, maybe the courage, lack of courage, or maybe the lack of knowledge, everything comes as a barrier. But when I talk to my superior, who's in a who's in a position to make decisions and make them aware that the tool which we are using is leading to this error because of these reasons, this is the gap, and this is what is the incidence, frequency of incidents, and such gaps, such wisdoms actually help them take right call and right decision, and you earn your empowerment eventually. Not only empowerment but reliability as well. So this is one of the tips which has helped me in my long run in my career while I served as a team leader or a mid-level manager for so many years. Um, this was one of the tips. If Ms. Jyoti could add on to any other way, because this is one of the commonest problems with the in charges, supervisors, and the mid-level managers.
Can I add something?
Please,
Yeah.
please.
Can I add something?
Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick one. It's a tip to all the mid-level nurses. Don't get emotional when something goes wrong. Okay, errors can happen. To err is human. So try to be little distant from the error. Try to be little distant, because if you are inside the error, you may feel like a victim. You will have different emotions, but you stand away from the error and say that, how can I protect my patient? And when you are talking to your seniors, always talk for the benefit of the patient. Don't get too emotional about your nurses. This is a trick that I have learned. When you argue for your patients, your nurses are automatically taken care of, because your argument should be for the patient, which nobody will debate with you, nobody will fight with you. This is a trade secret I'm telling all of you. That's a quick tip that I am giving. So Jyoti wanted to say something. So yes, Jyoti.
Kamkam, you're 100% correct. Whenever we talk in terms of patients. That's what I wanted to tell you. Whether you sit in the boardroom or whether you ask for a budget, when it is focusing on patient and patient safety, it will be guaranteed. And that is what the nurses will be benefited. Kankam, I just wanted to give me just 2 minutes where I want to tell 2009, when I started my career at the hospital industry, I was considered to be like a mid-level nurse leader, maybe taking care of one small hospital, right? So when I joined, I suddenly one morning I'm getting a call from I don't know whether those medical heads are here around. When they're going to watch this, they will understand. I'm getting a call from them. There was a medical head, nursing medical superintendent, and a medical director. Both of them called me and said, there is a big error that has happened in the CCU. What is a big error? The patient has bled 2 liters of blood, and patient is very critical. The nurse did not observe. This is after the IABP. Okay. So I just went there and I was standing there in the nurses station. I could see the cardiologist. I could see the housekeeping. I could see doctors, everybody there. I just told them, if you keep on asking me questions, I cannot give you solution. First thing I did was I assessed the patient. I saw the patient was revived and patient is safe. So no correction is required at that point of time. So I said, just give me 2 minutes. And I called the doctor. I called the housekeeping. I called the nurse, assigned nurse. And then I asked one of the in charge there to stand next to me. I asked, what is the Gamgee pad that was used for the patient? It is all same because corporate hospital use same. I weighed one Gamgee pad. I weighed all the pads and it came to 4. Still, I remember that number, magic number, 490 ml. So it was not 2 liter blood. It was 490 ml that was lost on the patient. Second thing, it is done on the arteries. If it is on artery, imagine the nurse did not observe the patient for 2 hours. How can, see, you have to speak with knowledge and objectivity. Then I said, you know what I wrote in my report finally? And this nurse is in Qatar. I don't know whether she's watching this. I told, I'm going to honor her as the best nurse for the year because she promptly identified there was a leak. Then I said, the IABP, the right size of cannula was not inserted, was an error. Correction that is required. Second, a non-privileged technician was allowed to remove the sheath. Second error. And then third one, I could say that the patient was turned. Okay. So these are the 3 errors that we have to change in the policy. This is not to point mistake on somebody. Maybe it is a policy decision making. So finally, what happened? They understood that this is a problem. And after that, what happened? Any mistakes happen, they say, call Clara. She'll come and do for us. So it's very interesting to learn. It's just not protecting my nurse, but it is just to give them insight and knowledge. So I thought I'll just share this. Although it was 2009, it just remains green in my mind.
So what it shows, Jyoti, is that the power of knowledge. When you are arguing or you are trying to learn from error, the knowledge about that particular domain is important.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
presence of mind to weigh your Gamgee quickly, to prove to the doctor, not to emotionally outburst and say, how can 2 liter happen? So by weighing the Gamgee, you prove that it cannot be 2 liters. And then the argument that if it's an artery, it cannot, be left unattended, the bed and everything will be full of blood then, So knowing these nitty-gritties, the real science of nursing is very important when you speak to doctors, because something that I learned is that when I was in the hospital, I got huge respect because of my clinical knowledge. I'm a critical care nurse. So I will stand like this and talk to the doctors about the treatment, the problems, what can be done, can we do like this. So just like a critical care nurse, that earned me respect. So this is a advice to everyone. Equip yourself with clinical knowledge. In India, both are required. You should have the administrative, the leadership qualities, and interpersonal skills, plus a good amount of knowledge and data. It's very important. If you have all this, I'm very sure people are going to look at us seriously. And senior leaders like us, we need to instill that attributes into our younger nurses. And yes, we all should learn to keep our ego on the side, to allow our younger nurses to shine in front of us. That takes a lot of security. When we are insecure about our position, we don't like others to shine. So don't become banyan trees. Nothing grows under the banyan trees, right? We can become very huge as an individual, but people will not grow beneath us. I think that's a sad state of affairs. Yeah. So I think this was a very, very interesting discussion, and I'm sure that we will continue to have focus as patient safety next year also, because we have promised that Annie will work towards no harm. We committed this on 17th of September 2021, so we are going to go ahead and work towards that. Thank you, Dr. Jyoti and Captain. Yeah, yes.
Just one last point I want to tell for the leaders: when errors are happening, we also should give assurance to the organization, to the consultant who is treating the patient. So we say that we own the patient and we will step in to ensure that the patient is out from the problem. So that is another very important, our patient. So that is very important competency that the leader must develop.
Kya bola?
I think Tankam will be able to cover it up in subsequent empowered hours.
Yes, I am very sure this is just the beginning, because patient safety is it's never ending topic, and we just could, look at 2 or 3 cases in this time. So thank you very much, both of you. It was very engaging and enlightening, and I'm sure the people who are here till now, they are going back with some promise to themselves that this is going to be something that they are going to do differently. And someone discussed about the fear of punishment. So in the chat box, I told that, just decide not to punish people when they report something. And we can talk in all the forums. We have a non-punitive, no blaming, no naming, no shaming culture. But हिंदी में कहते हैं गिरबान में थोड़ा झांक के देखो कि are you really doing it? Those who don't know Hindi, introspect. Are you really no shaming, no blaming, and no naming culture? If we can truly build it, we can start with nursing department. We can have so many excuses to say so and so is not allowing all this, but within nursing, if we start, I'm very sure our story is going to be better for tomorrow for nurses as well as patients. Thank you very much, everyone. And we will see you again on 30th of September with another topic, which is going to be hosted by West Bengal Annie chapter. And those of you who are not yet our members, if you're interested, just go to our website or reach out to any one of us. We love to have you join us. So before I stop the recording, I'll be pulling up the presentation once again and thanking each and everyone here. Thanking both the speakers for an excellent, deliberations on patient safety through case narratives. Thank you, Dr. Jyoti and Dr. Sandhya.
Thank you, Tankam. I really feel very proud to have the backdrop Annie behind me. This is the first day I'm using this. I feel very proud.
So,
thanks, Sandhya.
To all the people who want to know Annie, who want to join us, who want to make a difference to nurses and nursing, please come and join us. And we want people who want to do something for our profession. Thank you, each and everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye and take care.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you, Tankam.